and Women US West Coast Kickoff. This is our first meeting. So thank you so much for joining, however long you'll be here, whether it's 15 minutes or the entire duration. This is our first meeting. Very, very exciting. So first, we're going to go over today's agenda. You would have seen this in the group description or the event description as well. So we'll go over our introductions, who we are, and then we're going to go over our favorite, I can talk, data visualization resources. That's going to be stuff like our favorite blogs that we like to go to, podcasts that we like to listen to, and books that we like to read as well and reference. And then we're going to have an open discussion at the end just to kind of get to know each other, get an idea of what we're all looking for, maybe if someone's going to be participating in Iron Biz, all that sort of thing. Okay, so how did we come to be to begin with? The three of us met at Bay Area TUG, and we all ended up attending the Tableau conference this year, so Tableau 2025. And at the Data and Women meetup, we were talking and we realized, hey, there's no Data and Women meetup here in California. And we decided, hey, why not expand it to the entire West Coast? We can reach more people and fill that need. So we decided to start one. And so our goal during our meetups is we want to promote women and speakers, data and dashboards and any challenges that we might encounter. And of course, this is open to as well. It's not just women. So thank you everyone for joining. And I really mean everyone. Okay, so your TUG leaders, you may have met some of us, and some of you are here to support us. So we have Michelle, Anne, and myself, Tiana. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself, kind of like how I got into it, why I like it, and then Michelle and Anne will talk about it too. So I am currently a data analyst in a medical devices company called Similar Scientific, and I got into data analytics through data analytics and Tableau through property management. I used Tableau as a tool when I was in property management, and it was a way that we used to display data and help make decisions for our residents, and also help residents make informed decisions as well. So I really like that combination of data and property management. And then my background is actually, I have a bachelor's in health science. So I really, really love the idea of combining data and data analytics and health science. So medical devices is perfect for me. I also used to teach. So for me, that passion for health and data is really important. And I like to combine that with like my skills as a teacher. So I really love to make data accessible and understandable so that teams, and I know this is cliche, can make smarter data-driven decisions with confidence. So that's kind of my background. And then just a little fun fact about me. I have a cat. She's 11 years old. She's currently making biscuits and staring at me weirdly. But I love her to bits and pieces. So that's me. And next we have Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you. So hello, everybody. My name is Michelle Mirage. And again, so excited to be here and to get to know more people across the West Coast. Because, I mean, as mentioned earlier, as we were looking at the different Data and Women chapters that are actually all over the world, it was really interesting because it's like you've got chapters in Europe. I think there's a chapter in like Mexico or South America, and then a couple on the East Coast, really nothing that serviced our time zone. So really excited to get to know people on this side of the US. But I currently run the Tableau environment at Quick, which is a technology company in the hospitality industry. And so as part of the business intelligence team, I'm responsible for getting anybody who needs a data. So I have the pleasure of working with operations, sales, customer service, finance, whatever they need data, usually they will come through me to get it. So it's really cool because our company does depend heavily on Tableau, and I get to be the person who not necessarily gatekeeps, but essentially I put out a lot of the dashboards that people will use to get their data from. So it's been really rewarding because people who aren't used to using data in their jobs are using Tableau dashboards for the very first time. And it's always so rewarding to hear, oh, I didn't care about data until you put it in a way that makes sense, and now it's so useful for my job. So it's been pretty fun in that way. But my background as far as how I got here is I didn't really learn Tableau until after I got out of college. When I was in university, I studied information systems, and I had heard of Tableau. I think I might have used it for a project or two, but it wasn't until my very first role in consulting when I actually started picking up the tool and using it a lot more. And it's kind of funny because after that job, every role I've had afterwards has been a Tableau centric job, which is really, really cool. But I've always been passionate about design and data. And so when I was in high school, I actually thought I was going to be a graphic designer, but it was kind of funny because math was always my best subject. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was really passionate about design, but I realized I wasn't good enough to actually make any money. And so that's why I went into business, and being able to discover the field of data visualization has been awesome because I can combine those different interests of design, data, math, technology. It's really just a really cool field to be in. So really appreciate the opportunities that like Tableau has given me, and getting to know more people that are interested in those kinds of things. But similarly, also passionate about promoting data literacy and helping people build those data skills. So I do like to present and be a part of different communities and groups like this. And yeah, so my fun fact, I am a mom, so I have a little baby. She's 18 months now. She's still my baby, and 2 cats. But other fun fact is I also love to travel. I've seen every wonder of the world. I've been to 6 out of 7 continents, hoping to get the last one. Probably not soon, but one day we will get there.
And now we have me. Hi, Ann Stolzman. I am a lead analyst in the Service Strategy Operations Group at Rivian Automotive. We're the ones with the funny little headlights. And at Rivian, I recently switched groups, but I'm still focused in on service data. So we take our forecasting and our demand and our service data, and we figure out where to put new service centers or how to optimize technician work within a service center, and all sorts of things that are related to making sure people are happy with their cars. My background has been in tech for a long time. I've worked with data in all sorts of different forms and visualization in all sorts of different forms, starting with Excel. And as much as you may mock it, it is a visualization product. I started using Tableau in about 2013, was just fooling around with a couple of projects because somebody had pointed me to it. And then I got hired into a position where I was specifically going to be managing Tableau, and fell into the world headfirst and hard. So imagine having 3 weeks to get up to speed on existing visualizations, how to use this tool inside and out, and manage a Tableau administration server all at once. So I couldn't help but love what I was doing. Along the way, I've learned a lot in the dozen plus years of promoting data visualization literacy, design principles, accessibility for folks. I've mentored many, many people along the way, including, I think there's a name here on this call that is here to support me, who I've mentored for the last year or so. And while my company is moving out of using Tableau, as some of you heard, into another product, those basic design principles and visualization principles are still there. And so I'm still passionate about making sure that everybody rises to that level of excellence. So I am a longtime TUG attendee. I am a longtime virtual Tableau conference attendee, until with my fellow co-hosts, we decided, hey, let's go to TC, and went in person for the first time. And my fun fact is I am married. I have been for over 30 years. I am the mom to 2 adult daughters who have flown the nest, and I'm very happy when they come back home. So the next thing we want to talk about is what resources we use to get to where we are today. And what we go back to. And I'm sure some of you have your go-tos that you come back to, and we've all taken a pass at what our favorites are and want to share them with you. So for me, I like to talk about blogs. There are some that I go to regularly. The Flairledge twins. If you don't know Kevin and Ken and Keith, the puppet, they are Tableau visionaries. They are Hall of Famers. They are evangelists at a company called Moxie Analytics, and they continue to share and workshop and teach Tableau all over the place. Their blogs are really in depth when they go through, and they have guest bloggers as well, writing articles about how to step-by-step walk through something that is a really neat trick to work through with Tableau. Lindsay Betzenzahl is a Tableau Zen master, a public ambassador. She's been featured in several books. Most of those I have actually on my bookshelf as well. She works in healthcare. She shares tips at visindata.com, and you can occasionally find her on Twitter as well. Like the Flairledge twins, she goes in depth of a different aspect of Tableau, usually some kind of tip or trick, and it's soup to nuts of everything and why you do it that way. And then I'm sure everybody knows Andy Kriebel. He is a Zen master, a visionary, a Hall of Famer, has been using Tableau for over 20 years, has his own company, is constantly all over the socials with tips and tricks, and is a font of information of how to do things the old way and the new way throughout the years. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Tiana.
Me. So I personally love listening to podcasts. I have a music background, so listening to things all the time is really helpful for me. And obviously, there's going to be many resources, but my focus is podcasts. So the first one is Data and Love. I actually found this through another TUG meeting, and I was a little stalkerish, you could say. I went through someone's bio and found this podcast, thought it was really cool. And it's just conversations with the host, Zach Bowders, and he talks to different professionals and artists to kind of get tips and tricks on how they went through it, their life story, and like how they went to it and stuff like that. So I really enjoy it because something I didn't mention earlier is that my company is also moving away from Tableau, which makes me sad, but it's still nice to be very passionate about Tableau. I love its UI. I love its design. So I also love hearing about it and hearing different tips and tricks. Having been a teacher before, getting reviews on how people learn data is really important to me. So Data and Love is one that I like. Everything Data Analytics is also cool. Cubeware, I just found them recently. So I really like they talk about different ways to go about it, talking about ETL, talking about data viz, and all of that. So I do recommend that. And then the last one, maybe relevant to our group right now, is called Women in Data. And Karen interviews people, women in data that are working that way. She'll ask them about opinions about AI, which is the hottest topic right now, for example. And through each episode, they've shared their experience and their knowledge and how they got into data, which is really exciting. And all of these are accessible. My personal favorite, and obviously I'm not getting paid for this, is through Spotify. So that's where I listen to all my podcasts. And next we have Michelle.
So I am a big reader. Love to read, love to collect books, love to hoard books. And so it's really hard to narrow down. And especially when we were putting together the slides, thinking about, okay, let's think of 3 books that I want to share today. I went with 3 authors instead. So you can see that each of these authors did put out multiple books, but I feel very passionately about the ones I've chosen and can't wait to tell you why. So for people who are a little bit newer to data visualization, I do recommend the Storytelling with Data series. So these are by Cole Knaflick, and she used to work, she's an author who used to work in banking, private equity, and Google. And it was actually when she was at Google that she started teaching the data visualization skills that she had picked up. And she was blogging a lot about it online. So as she was going to different Google offices and teaching that, she put together her book and eventually started her own company where she now does that training full time. I really like, oh, and I also I had to bring them here. So this is the latest book. Oh, and you can't even see it because of the background put in front of me. So this is their latest book. It just came out before and after. I think it came out like 2 weeks ago or something. But the Storytelling with Data series, I highly, highly recommend if you want to communicate more effectively at work. So especially if you use data in your job, which, I mean, everybody in this day and age does, right? If you want to create cleaner charts, make better presentations, she has a lot of very, very actionable, clear to follow steps to improve your charts. So you can come to the book with a visualization you put together, read the steps, make the updates, and it's already easier to read. So highly, highly recommend that series, especially for beginners. And that was probably the first data viz book that I had ever purchased, especially getting into it. The second author I want to talk about today is Alberto Cairo. So he is actually a Spanish professor now in a journalism school. So he got into data through data journalism. He was the journalist first, and he was creating a lot of infographics. But now, like I said, he teaches journalism and directs a visualization program. But the reason why I love his book series is I feel like it gets more into the detail of how we interact with data and why different types of charts are easier to understand. And so he actually gets into like the science of like how pattern recognition works in our brains and how to find the balance between either showing too much or showing too little information. The book on the very bottom, The Truth or Art, that one in particular is my favorite book, data viz book of all time, because I feel like I learned so much just about summary statistics from him and about how you can take one data set and based on the type of summary statistics you show or the type of visual that you have, you can tell a completely different story depending on how you want to aggregate the information. So he really goes into detail about like why you would choose different types of aggregations, how you would show them, what type of story it tells. And so really it's just inspiring for how to summarize information and how to choose different types of measurements. So if you are a more advanced data visualization professional, I do recommend picking up Cairo's books, or one of them, his latest one. I think it came out this year. Art of Insight. All so good, so insightful. And finally, the author that I had to mention today was Edward Tufte. So Tufte is one of the most well-known information design experts probably in the world. His first book, I'm going to hold it up, The Visual Display of Quantitative Information. He first wrote it in 1983, so it's a throwback. He is like a very founding person in the field of data viz, and so he couldn't even find anybody to publish his book, and so he actually self-published in the 1980s, which is really cool. So he's written about 5 or 6 books as well, but Tufte, he is an academic. So he studied at Stanford and Yale, taught courses on political science and data analysis before putting together a statistical course. So that's when he started coming out with his books and spreading that knowledge. But he's responsible for the phrase chart junk. And so if you've heard that term, where essentially if you have a visualization and there's too much going on, we call that chart junk that you want to remove. He also, I'm pretty sure he came up with the data ink ratio. And so again, the idea of how much ink versus how much white space you have on a page makes charts a lot easier to read. He also helped pioneer and really push the idea of using like small multiples and spark lines, especially when we think about some of our bigger dashboarding. For me, especially since I'm a dashboard person, spark lines are essentially those little charts where you have a bunch of them near each other, small multiples. It's smaller representations of data, but it still gets some type of communication across. So he's very well known in the field. And if you're really interested in the foundations of information communication, I think that he is a great place to go. So again, to recap, because I said a lot because I'm very passionate about my books, if you want to be better at your job and be better in like the professional sense, I do recommend Storytelling with Data. If you want to think about, I want to say it's like how people interact with your visuals and how people feel about your visuals, Alvaro Cairo. And then if you want fundamentals, that's the word I was looking for. If you want the fundamentals and really get to the history of data visualization, I do recommend Edward Tefty. But that wraps up my recommendations for today.
So what we've put together to help everybody and ourselves as well is a resource library. We have a Google Sheet with links to books, podcasts, YouTube channels, all sorts of resources that are available. Please feel free to use a form. We're throwing links into the chat for how to submit and just to view what's there. Please make sure when you're submitting, check the library to make sure you're not writing up a duplicate. We appreciate that. And feel free, use all the resources, use any of the resources, submit resources. This is a community. This is our own special little community project that we're putting together for this community. So enjoy it.
In the spirit of visualization, was it data visualizations? We're going to do some live visualizations and get to know our group a little bit better. So I'm going to share my screen. And if you guys don't mind joining, so you can go to, you can scan the QR code or go to pe.app/JMM. This is poll. And so we've got a couple of different questions that we're going to run through today, just to get to know our audience and get to know what you guys want to see out of the community. And so if you guys don't mind logging in and voting, that'd be super cool. And then also this is part of our discussion. So if you guys want to talk as well, feel free to. But yeah, so super exciting to hear that we've got a lot of people join us from word of mouth. For those of you that found us through social media, I would be curious, like, if you don't mind either coming off mute or sharing in the chat, like which social media platform you found us on. Because I'd be curious to know if you like personally knew somebody who posted about it or if it was like one of us. Yeah, LinkedIn makes sense. Oh, and people who said other, please tell us what other is. We really like to know where else we should be advertising, right?
Yes, please and thank you.
Yeah, Tableau user group. I was actually really impressed when we were going through a lot of the Tableau user group training, like how much promotion Tableau helps us with and seeing our ribbon pop up across random places. So that has been pretty cool. Yeah, really helpful. Oh, Slack.
Slack, awesome.
Oh, if you don't mind sharing which Slack group. And actually, one of the things that we didn't necessarily chat about earlier, but I believe it is in our resource library, is, did we put communities in our library? I feel like we listed like Reddit, subreddits, blogs, websites. But yeah, there's a lot of communities out there that.
Hi, Charles.
Let's see.
Database Society newsletter. Oh, I didn't know we'd made that.
Right.
Look at us.
Yes, I love the
I'm going to have to go subscribe to that now.
Right.
Sharing resources so we can learn more.
There you go. Throw it in the resource. Newsletters are great. We should have that. I don't know. I have a category for that. If I don't, put it under, I don't know, blog or something, and I'll make sure that newsletter is a valuable option.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you, same link, so if you did not exit, whether you're on your phone or you're on your computer, still, you can either scan the QR code or it's pe.app/JMM. Would love to see kind of where our group falls as far as where you consider yourself. I don't know, I do consider
Skills
myself
just among us is. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that I actually feel 3 of us, our skills are actually different too. So that's kind of nice to see like the difference in who's attending.
Yeah, the distributions. For sure. I know for me, it's like, I feel like I could do Tableau with my eyes closed, you know? But yeah, it's really cool to see. Like, especially, I mean, we're all here because we want to grow our skills and we want to get better at it, right?
Absolutely.
For sure.
I know most people would probably rank me an expert. I put myself at proficient because there's always things to learn. And even when I've mentored folks, they ask questions and I may not know the answer. So we go on the journey together.
Love it.
I definitely know for myself, I'm like advanced beginner because I'm like, I've done it. I've used it for sure. But there's still so much to learn and so much that I rely on the Tableau community for to look up, find solutions.
And community projects are great for that. So here's my plug for community projects. Workout Wednesday, Makeover Monday, Back to Biz Basics. These are all terms that you guys, if you've been around the Tableau horn for a while, you've probably heard of. They're great projects. You can post them to your Tableau public, post them to your LinkedIn, share them to your socials, hashtag them DataFam. You will meet great people. You will get interesting comments. My Tableau public right now is littered in a good way with Workout Wednesday and Back to Biz Basics. Workout Wednesday gives me the opportunity to do a challenge of something that I may or may not know how to do and learn. And I put a tiny little mini blog about it in a hover in my tooltips or in my footer. And Back to Biz Basics allows me to take a particular data set and a, type of visualization, a unit chart, a bar chart, a KPI, anything every couple of weeks, and just stretch my creative wings to design something really nice. So participate in those projects. There's so many out there, and you can find them all on Tableau's website. I think they have a specific link. I will dig that up right now. I should have had it ready.
I believe they
But
do.
also the resource library has links to all of them too. You can also bookmark that.
Very nice.
But yeah, I think it's really cool though that we have such a wide distribution of people here. Looks like we hover around the 2s and 4s, but it's pretty neat to see such a diversity. Okay, so for this one, I believe I set it so you can choose up to 2. So or no, you may respond one time. Okay, so maybe it's your first favorite, your number 1 favorite. Oh, just one. So go ahead and pick. I know that most of us will use multiple resources, but if you had to pick one favorite, which one would you say? And so I know for me, I picked books, but while we let everybody vote in, I wanted to get your thoughts on using a radar chart for this. I feel like that could be, what's the phrase?
Controversial?
Yes, I feel like it could be controversial. I just thought it was cool looking because I wanted to try different chart types. So what do you guys think?
It does look cool. You get to kind of see the spread.
Yeah.
I like to see where the spider is trapping its insects.
Where it's tracking in what? Sorry?
Where it's trapping its insects.
Yeah. The overlap.
We got a lot of YouTube channels.
Yeah. What are your favorite YouTube channels, everybody? Share it in the chat. I know for me, I'm a reader as opposed to a listener or a watcher. And so it's like, even with the YouTube channel, I need to like read the captions, or I need to like read the instructions. Because that's just how I learn a little bit.
I know I have a combination. I like all mediums, right? If it's YouTube channels, then it's on 2x speed. And then I'll still have like the transcript on the side. So that's how I like it.
Sudarshan, you're raising your hand.
I thought like I'll just ask a question since you are all on the call. I know, Michelle, you're big on design. So I just wanted to get some advice on what would you advise a beginner to start with? How would you approach to a dashboard design if you are a beginner and you're given the task to design a dashboard for the first time as soon as you join the job? What would be your approach? Would you start on a piece of paper, or would you draw it by pen, or how would you approach a Tableau dashboard?
Oh, that is an excellent question. So for me, I am assuming that I have the data to start with. I'm a person who likes to just throw it into Tableau, create as many charts as I can possibly think of. And especially like, okay, let's say you're talking about work and you've already collected the requirements and you know what metrics that you're measuring, right? I like to just get everything on the page. I like to visualize it all, make all of my sheets, make all of my charts. And then from there, once I see what I'm left with, I will then do the puzzle piece of figuring out where things should go and what type of layout works. If I am thinking design wise, as far as like, oh, what colors should I use? How should the layout look and different things like that? I think that with a lot of artists, it's helpful to look at inspiration and to look for ideas. So for me, I will just sit on Tableau Public and scroll forever. I feel like being able to look at, or even looking at the hashtag data fam, just looking at everybody else's ideas, it really just gives you inspiration for what you could possibly do. And I think that as far as design goes, a lot of it comes with practice. And so being able to see, it's almost like, I mean, when we think about data and looking at patterns, as you look through all these different dashboards, you start to see the patterns of, you know, oh, I really gravitate towards these types of colors, or oh, I really think that it's easiest to see data in this way as you look at so many different examples. And I think that it's like almost exposure therapy. Looking at what everybody else is doing and seeing what other designs are out there is really how I built my skills, is really just looking at all of it, looking at inspiration, and then being able to apply that to myself. But my other co-hosts, or even anybody else on the call, curious if you guys approach things differently.
From my perspective, to quote, I believe it was Kristen Chabot, the founder of Tableau, who said, learn to date your data, get in a relationship with it. So first things first, always know what you're trying to work with and understand what your stakeholder is trying to answer. So knowing what that question, the single question, don't let them boil the ocean, and it's really easy to get to that point. But get to the main question of what is this really trying to answer? And then from that standpoint, once I know the data a little bit better, and sometimes that's SQL queries, sometimes that's throwing it in Tableau. Even if I've already thrown a bunch of stuff in Tableau, it all comes down to a piece of paper and a bunch of colored pencils. Or a whiteboard, which I have next to me on my wall here, with lots of sketches. You start sketching out ideas. And for me, that allows me to really kind of put a wireframe on paper that I can share out with stakeholders to say, okay, this is what this is going to look like. This is what this is going to look like. And sometimes that's live with the stakeholder. If I already know the data, talking with them of, okay, this is what you want to answer. This is the kind of presentation I think would be best. And then I go mock it up and go from there.
Love it. Especially being able to do, like, sometimes I do have a piece of paper. It's really cool to see that, like you mentioned, using the whiteboard, using those like tangible resources to walk it up to.
Keeping your stakeholders involved in the conversation and the iterative process of the design is it helps them have ownership, and it gives you an opportunity to educate them on design principles if they don't know any better.
Mm-hmm. And Tiana, did you have a different approach?
Pretty similar. I mean, I feel because I'm on like sort of the beginner side of data viz, when I do dashboards in my company, it is a lot of stockholder people telling what stakeholder that they want, going back and forth. Like, what do you think? So my personal favorite to start with, I know this is very simple, very basic, but I love my bar charts. Love. They are the easiest way, in my opinion, to communicate. Almost anybody understands a bar chart, but it's like a good way to start. That's how I like to start with mine, and then I go from there. And sometimes for me, it's just hey, I saw this one from like, and then I'll be like, okay, how can I tweet what I want? I also saw in our chat, Sharon, thank you for joining. She also said that she uses Base 44 to wireframe dashboards. So that seems kind of cool. You can use natural language processing and have like a template that you can use. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. I have to check that out. Because I've heard of people using like PowerPoint or Figma or something, but yeah, I have to try that. That'd be pretty neat.
Yeah. Didn't someone mention that they use Canva as well for their dashboard?
Oh, I mean, I use Canva to make so for those of y'all that saw our presentation, those are Canva slides or a Canva template. I personally use Canva to do a lot of my graphics. And so if I need like icons or if I need something, I'll pull from Canva. Not as much mockups though.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
How about Figma? Have you guys used Figma?
I was actually using Figma last night to pull some backgrounds off some icons to do some transparencies for a Back to Biz Basics I'm working on. So, and I've used it to create static backgrounds instead of using PowerPoint for dashboards. So Figma is absolutely useful. We should use all the design tools that we have access to if it is going to bring something to the table.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I know I haven't used Figma myself, but I know that we use it at our company a bit.
It's fun.
But, all right, so I got the next question up. Feel free to vote. And we also have more tools in the chat if you guys want to check those out. But for this poll, let us know if you're participating in IronViz. And so if you are newer to the Tableau community, IronViz is the international Tableau competition. And so once a year, they do IronViz, where essentially, so there is a feeder competition where people have a generic topic that they want to visualize. You can use pretty much any data set related to the topic. All these people over the course of a month put together dashboards, and then the final winners based on, I guess it's like Tableau themselves pick, but there are 3 finalists who are chosen to then create dashboards on stage. So it's a really cool competition to watch, especially if you go to the Tableau conference, watching the IronViz and watching people build dashboards live. You feel like you learn so much, but it's also very, very hype. But I don't know. Anybody else have anything to add to better explain IronViz for anybody who hasn't heard of it?
I mean, I always assumed it was based off of Iron Chef. We're doing visualizations, so it's kind of a similar thing to that.
It was. That is absolutely the DNA of that competition. Iron Chef for data visualization.
Yeah.
I've been encouraged by being in the Women in Data Slack channel and watching the conversations happen around the data set and the announcement of the data set and what we were all theorizing it was going to be. That even if your goal isn't to be on stage, mine is to, I don't care. I don't need to be on stage. I don't want that kind of pressure. You can always use it as a goal to learn something new. I know people who challenge themselves to learn radial charts for the first time as a result of participating in IronViz, even just the feeder. So different chart types, different ways of synthesizing your data even. So use it as an opportunity to learn something.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that in our group there's not a lot of people participating in it. I'm wondering, is that because we don't want to be on stage or we're just busy? But yeah, that's a lot interesting.
I think it's a lot. And an interesting statistic I heard in another Tableau user group meeting was that there's generally only about 200 entries every year. That's about the average. You'd think it would be more with the thousands of us out there who are using Tableau. But apparently it's only about 200 people participating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, at least for me.
I'm curious. Oh, go for it.
No, you finish.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm curious because we have 71% of people who responded. They're not going to and will not be participating this year, or why that might be. So I'd love to see that in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yana, yes, it takes a lot of time. It sure can. I've already spent, I haven't even put anything into Tableau yet. And I've already spent about 2+ hours looking through data sets, and looking for graphics for what I'm going to use. And I'm not even close to done yet. So yeah, it probably does take a significant amount of time. There are also feedback loops for those who do want to participate, and for those who can probably can come off mic and or come off mute and speak to this better than I can. But there are feedback groups and loops and folks you can find that will help you coach through your design as well before you submit. So plenty of tips and tricks out there for how to get through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I will say I participated 1 year and then I haven't for like 3. And I think it's about the same thing. It's like there's always something that comes up around this time, or for me personally, finding the data or like committing to a data set is the hardest part. And so I feel like once I have the data, like building a dashboard is no big issue, but figuring out what you want, structuring the data, it is a decent amount of work and it's hard to get going. But okay, enough about Iron Viz though. So thinking back to our community and what we are learning these days, I'd be curious to know what's a skill that you have learned recently or a skill you want to learn that has helped your career. I mean, could be data viz related, but it could be different. And so within the chat, it is open-ended. And so I don't know, it could be things. I'll just throw some ideas out there, but it's like maybe you're doing a specific language. Maybe it's, I don't know, soft skills, or that's a good one.
Whoever and I can relate.
Yeah. But curious what else you guys are learning these days. If you want to learn.
Or want to learn. What's on your bucket list?
Outside of Tableau. What will help us with our Tableau skills, right? Maybe I need to add Figma onto here. So yeah, I'll type Figma in. So I need to learn Figma.
I like the idea of Canva myself.
Yeah, I'm a big Canva user. Even before, I've been doing a lot of my public speaking slides off of Canva, just because their slide decks are so pretty, you know.
Machine learning, that's a good one. Anything specific in machine learning?
I feel like that's so hard though. Like machine learning, there's so many algorithms you can apply, and then it depends on what situation you're hoping to apply it to.
Yeah, that's why I asked, where do you want to narrow in? Prompt engineering, that's going to be a big one.
Yeah,
especially with AI.
I went to a women data science event last week where we learned about AI, and it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like so many people, like especially when you think big companies, it's like everybody says they're doing it, but it's like, are you really doing AI? But really trying to see where people go with it. And This is something that I do want to learn a little bit more about and take advantage of since it's really blowing up.
So, Michelle, any take on the Tableau Next that was discussed during the Dreamforce, and it might change course for the Tableau community? So, any opinion on that?
Ooh. See, I didn't watch. I'm embarrassed to say. So I don't know necessarily what they talked about, but thinking about what they've presented in the past, I would say as a Tableau developer, one of my biggest concerns thinking about AI is always making sure that our data is in a place that's ready for it. Because I know that, especially as a Tableau developer who's putting together data for people across our team, I know that there's so many nuances in our data that it's like additional context that, only I would know, only a person would know about our business that you need to be cautious of before you present results. And so I get really nervous giving my leadership access to like AI tools or tools like that because I don't know like what the data is going to do, and I don't know if our data is ready for it. But I think it's a cool idea, and I'd actually be really curious the rest of the group what y'all's take is on it.
I think one thing AI cannot fix, Michelle, is garbage in, garbage out problem, and data is so key for that. Obviously, everyone start talking about data strategy these days. They're only talking about AI strategy without thinking about data. And that is why even more important that we need cleaner data in order to get cleaner AI.
Clean data has always been a problem. It was a problem 30 years ago. It's a problem today.
It'll always stay. Yeah.
It will always stay,
Yes.
and you will always need a set of eyes, human eyes to look at
Exactly.
it. Because
Exactly.
what AI might dismiss as a piece of dirty data garbage might be that outlier that you really need to pay attention to for some reason or another. Could be indicative of a problem. Could be just, hey, that's that really hot customer that we need to make sure we treat with white gloves.
Okay. Our final question for today. Again, thank you guys so much for coming to our kickoff for this user group. And so we were curious to know, what do you want to get out of it? Oh, thinking about, it's like thinking about myself. I want to network. So Sudarshan actually leads the Bay Area user group where Tiana, Ann, and I met, which is really cool because, we've been attending this user group for, I don't know, probably like 2 years, over a year at least at this point, right? And so being able to go to a community where you're seeing similar faces, that's how you build your network and how you make friends. Because one of the most important things about community, right, is that it's a way to give us resources to help us grow. It's a way to connect us to other people, like when we're looking for jobs or when we're looking for resources, looking for these new experiences. So for me personally, I'm here because I want to build my network and build my community. But yeah, curious to know, is that everybody else's priority? Are you more here for the tips and tricks? Leave it here or let us know.
I'm enjoying this word cloud that just pops up with things.
Yeah. Yeah, learning good skills. We are here to learn. That's good too. Yeah, I know, Ann and Tiana, do you guys have anything else to add there about what you wanted to get out of it?
I like the balance between community networking and learning and teaching, because we'll all have things to teach each other as well. So if anyone has tricks that they want to talk about, we'll make a forum for you. We'll give you a platform to teach us as well. So this community is we're leading it, but we want you guys to have equal input into it as well, because this is for you. It's for all of us.
Yeah, and maybe someone else can be a speaker next time or one of our next meetings. I like that idea too. We can learn from each. Because the biggest thing or reason for why maybe we don't, but we lose skills and we learn all these ways to use Tableau and data viz. But we are each our own. Itself brings its own flavor into how data is digested. So, just kind of being in this group is nice to see everybody's differences as
For sure. All right. Thank you guys so much for participating in our polls. And I know we're actually coming up on time. So, really quickly, we do have some upcoming events already scheduled. So, our next event, please, if you haven't already RSVP'd, please RSVP for it so you can get the emails and the reminders. But we've got Miss Lisa Trescott. So, she is a past Iron Viz champion. She is based on the West Coast with us, and she's going to be coming to and presenting at our next event. And so we're really excited because, like we mentioned, one of our goals with this group being Data Plus Women is we want to hear, from women and then also about women experiences. So she's going to share about the pressure of knowing that only one woman had won Data Viz previously. So I'm really excited to hear from her and her perspective on that. And then thank you again so much for joining. So this is our contact information here. You can also reach out to us on whatever social medias, LinkedIn's, whatever else, Slack channels, things like that. And again, as mentioned, we would love to hear from more people from the community. So if you are interested in presenting or you have ideas on something you want to do, definitely let us know. But either way, thank you again so much for coming and hope to hear from y'all soon.
Thank you, guys. This is wonderful.
Thanks, Sudarshan. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Looking forward to more of these events.
Indeed.
hopefully looking for more.
Yes, absolutely. We're not against people in the Midwest. Come on. I go to East Coast. I go to East Coast Data Plus Women all the time. So
I know it's West Coast, but doesn't mean you have to stick to your time zone.
That's true.
Yes, the only point of it being the West Coast is that we're in a West Coast time zone. But anybody from all over the world can join. So no limits.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Take care. Thank you, everybody.
All right.